My favorite routines that I have worked on, I would have to say the first one is in for Kazan World Championship, and also we polished in and performed in the Olympics with the Chinese team. It's called Finding Dragon. It was a story about 8 brave women coming from village to go up on the mountain to find the dragon. That was the story we made from the very beginning until the end, and I had a really it impacted me not as a routine, but like the process we went through to make these routines. And in the first year, we made it more of my idea, and then the second year to get ready for the Olympics, we took some of the part of the music changed and also got more ideas from the girls, and we tried and and of course swimming in indoor pool in Kazan and outdoor in Rio, we getting into consideration of how we could look better with everything with the swimsuit and hair and everything that I have to say that was my favorite routine, one of the because of the memories that carries on. It's not just about 3 minutes and a half routine. It's just the whole thing that it comes back to me as a memory. I think in my case, I take Olympic Games very different, because Olympic Games for me is not just one of the competition we go to as an athlete. It's a festival. It's a worldwide. It's like a celebration of sport and also like world, and you actually feel it when you're there. So it's important for me to present something with which team I'm working, like which team are we going to perform as. Like in this case in Rio, I was part of a Chinese team, so I wanted to carry on something Chinese, but in the same time, something that there in that Olympic pool, the people there and as an audience or the people who's watching TV, like how can we entertain them? Like that was the first step to think about the music or inspiration of what kind of story we want to build on. So that one that I came with, considering a lot of stories from Chinese, the old stories, and also the character of the girls, and also thinking about the pool in Rio. That was the first step to get inspiration. And after that, talking to the girls little by little, some pictures that I saw in the restaurant or the books that they show me. And then, that one didn't come like the whole story as an inspiration, but it just kind of took the process. And it was fun for me to learn the culture too. Like doing this process, I got to learn a lot of things that Chinese girls tells me the story, not like Googled or, like look on the histories, what they have in their mind as Chinese typical stories. And, that was very fun to get action from little here and there. Yeah. I think obviously after this new role from 2 years ago, I had to change my way of building choreography and artistic part, because I had my own way of doing this until 2 years ago. But then obviously now it has to be changed, because the direction you go to would be different way. But my struggle that I took in the first year is how much I don't give up what I wanted to do when I first listened to the music, or when I pops up in the first thing I wanted to do. It's like I see like a picture of movement of the faces that singers when I try to listen to the music for the first time. So how much I save it, how can I save all this, the first inspirations and then go through when I have to go and think about the DDs and everything. And so it's a little bit different since 2 years ago. But I think my process is, sometimes it depends on the routines, but sometimes the music and the color of the swimsuit, and then how I want to, do the deck work, and then like get in the first movement, what kind of face I want the swimmers to put on. Sometimes it comes like boom. I have already like, okay, first slap, and then when they come back to the middle of the pool, decide to look and then turn around, and like that kind of the whole structure. But sometimes like a picture, okay, this part of this music, I want to do this. And this part of this music, I feel like the legs are moving this way and then doing the pattern change. So like a piece by piece, like you say, like or sometimes like a duet. And for Tokyo, we did a baseball. That the whole thing. I already had like a one game in my head, and I want them to go to first base, and then do this, and then put the elements in between, and some movement from the baseball player here, looking at this way. Like before I went to the pool, I kind of had the whole structure already set in my mind. So I think it's very depend on the routines. But as a coach, I think the most fun part is building a little by little, with the swimmers that you're working with. And then at the end, when we compete, the swimmers feel like they made the routine. I think it's important. Like it's no borrowed dress and you put it on for one day to make it best out of it. No, it's just we made this dress and we want to look good with this dress on. It's like ours. I think coaching a team, I think it's important for the athletes and also for the coaches. Mm. I think it's very much depend on the singer who's solo. But I think solo singers always carries a big stress, big pressure, and depend on the singers. If she's like a fighter or more of shy or like wanted to do everything perfectly. I think it's really depend on the singers of a character how they are as an athlete. But if I have to say in general, I think I would put it just maybe in the first lap to go through the judges, going through, and then put the elements after that. I might push that unless you're into this fight and you want to, you're working with this athlete who's maybe be able to handle because the ability is there, and then maybe imagining all the competitions, from number one swimmer, like everybody would do the same. Then, okay, let's do different way to show the swimmers a little bit different. I think it's depend on, what kind of swimmer your athlete is you got for this solo. I usually have, okay, this section I want to do hybrid. I want to use this part of music, I don't know, 8 or 6/8 or whatever, the length. And by some part of the music stands out of some movement, not thinking about too much of family. Okay, this part of music is like two legs separate and doing, whatever movement. And then it's like having that piece of music and this, I want to do this sound like a spinning. And then just these two, I wouldn't change. So if this happened to be in the flexibility family, and I will keep it there. And then this is a rotation. Okay, I will keep it there. I'm not going to change these two because I want to look like some part of the music actually fits with this difficulty chart coming from, So then, okay, the one of flexibility is used and then rotation and then build from there. And also, I think it's very important, especially for the free, that all hybrid look different. So if you think about balanced hybrid, okay, this hybrid, I want to do rotation 3 times and flexibility, baraku, thrust this much. Then I think you have to come and think about the next hybrid. It's completely different, like opposite balance of the, yeah. So, and I think, and also like, again, depend on the swimmers for solo. My swimmer is very good with the flexibility or the rotation. That, has a lot of consideration what order you put on. Is the hybrid, and also for free, like how many, the first hybrid and the second hybrid, I will use more rotations because she might not be able to do it at the end. Or she's very strong with the rotations, spinning and spinning up, changing the scout. She can do it with the strengths. Okay, I'm going to put it at the end, more rotations at the end. I look a lot about what they do in the water because for the swimmers, the work from last DD chart from this year is a lot of switching the sculling around here because you got to do up, down, and this change the direction, but it's not like a short, which is around here. It's about here. So I would build the way that the seamers would do less switching because that makes them tired. Okay, if it's spin up and going from spin up and then you spin down, and then from here she has to do, for example, thrust. There's a lot of big change with the body and then sculling, and then you have to push, and again the spin down. So like kind of imagining what she would have to do when she does it well, and then going more continuous movement in the water as far as going sculling. So then the seamers will be more fluid inside the water with their skull changes, building the order of the hybrid that is be smoother for the seamers to move underwater. I think it'll be a lot of movement. Of course, because of this change, we all are kind of worldwide in the first page again with, it's a little bit same situation as in like the 23 where we found out this new role and we have to build and we have to change completely the way we build routines or the way you spend time for everyday's training, because obviously what we have to train it completely changed. So this year, I think it's not that much big change, but yes, it modified a lot. So the first World Cup, we will see how much different since 2 years ago. But in the same time, I think we cannot forget this is still our first step of this new chart. And we have to go from here. And also not just the role change, but like inclusion of boy swimmers, men swimmers, and also, how acro gets way more weight. We all witnessed at the Olympics, what people talk about is acro, so more entertaining part of synchro has changed, not like 8 people completely synchronized swimming and it's wow for the people who's watching outside of synchro. Acro is like more entertaining and it's like an attraction for them to be in. Especially like I think platform to validate platform was that high DD, so we all did it and then we had to repeat it, and then that made the routines a little less original, less speed because it takes time to turn and not so much that they can do on top of the platform. So in this year, I'm sure it'll be different and it'll be a progress, what we learned the last 2 years, and we're going to go forward with this information. I think the teams I worked on, some teams I can think of, the struggle we had going through to the Olympics. Every time I moved to some other countries, my goal is like coming in 4 years. It's always like a 4 years road to the Olympics, and that has been always a goal. So none of the teams we started it like a perfectly done as a teamwork and as a coach. And also to me, it's important to decide who the captain is, because this captain person's role is very important. It's basically bridge between the swimmers and myself or the coaching staff. We have a direct communication, but between team and then the coaching staff, I think we have to have the first building is a lot of importance in captain. And also because I think I'm coming from Asian culture, the youngest in the team is like a little sister. So this person is treated really different than the oldest. It doesn't matter the ranking or anything to do with the sport. It's just the age, like purely how old you are. And coming from the culture, because I was usually in the Japanese team, most of the years I was the youngest. Some things that I wanted to say as in my opinion, I didn't say it because you're the youngest, that kind of like a ranking that I have. So that's like one thing that I learned as a coach. I had in my mind since I just became a head coach, like I wanted to make sure that whole team can talk, no matter you're the best person in a team or you're the first year youngest, it doesn't matter. Like I wanted to to me, it's important that in a team, like, we are equal. If you want to talk, you can talk. If you want to say your opinion, you get to say it. So I think the first step I take like that. And also it depends on, sometimes if you're a coach, it's some swimmers as maybe difficult to coach. That happens. And also like 4 years ago in the Spanish team, Ona Carbonell, who's like most experienced swimmer, and then there goes like 12 years younger compared to her, and she's maybe second year national team. It's nothing similar. There's no, similarity in between two, but I have to make somehow the great team with Ona and then the youngest in it. And so I think the both of them took a lot of effort, and also Ona did a great job of understanding that, like, she's part of the team. It's not someone who stands out as long as we are training team, not the moment of training solo. That kind of thing, I think I like doing that part as a coach too. It's not just a synchro coach, but I think building the team is something that to me, it's a process of knowing each one of them. You might think as a coach, like, you're teaching something, but no, I learned so much from 17 years old. How can you come to practice every day smiling? Like, I won't be able to do that. And like, kind of analyzing her and then getting to know her as a coach, like, I took that essence into me. It's just, I think knowing the human is the part of, a job as a coach, to get to know them and then figure out one by one this girl, what she's missing, what she needs to be better as an athlete. But at the same time, that process is fun as building a team and also getting to know each of them. Yeah, but it's not just a time. Yes, some national team train, all year round, and obviously you get to be all year round with your team. But some teams I worked on, it was just, like 3 months after for big meet. But it's not about time, and it's somehow we got to build this great team. And, I think it's just that everybody understanding this is a team. Yeah, I think that's the thing, that it's beautiful thing about the team sport too. For me, very important, especially team routines. When we think about choreography or anything, like the first person, most of the time when I ask, I think about this music for next year or 2 years. What do you think? Is our musician? His name is Salvador, and I get his opinion and I explain to him what I see and what kind of rhythm this part and first lap, and like explain to him, and then the music part, I go with him, but I have great two people who helps me with a swimsuit, and they tell me always that I'm crazy, because always when I decide the music and I was thinking about color of the swimsuit, and I go to them, their studio, the swimsuit making studio, and then I explain to these two, and I wanted to have this shoulder, I wanted to have this, where that is, and then I show them picture, but I cannot find a picture. So I would like a draw or like make something literally with my hands. And I show it to them. They're like, the first thing they always tell me, it's impossible. This is heavy or whatever. But then like, okay, let's try. And then every swimsuit that we got into, like, whoa, this is cool. Like, I think we tested maybe 7 or 8 swimsuit with a different color, or, it's a passion. I think we all 3 gets to the moment, okay, let's do this. It's for them, like out of their break time, and they just trying the one that it's, different color, different material, and then they will bring it to me at the pool, and okay, let me try it. And then, sometimes it's not solved completely. It's just the testing part, maybe just this part. But then, and I think swimmers like that too. I think building the choreography and training, but in the same time, the other part, we are trying to polish as much as we can. And makeup is always coming from the singers. I think they are more advanced in that sense. They like to look at the pictures or TikTok or whatever to get these inspirations. Now, again, last 2 years, the disappointment comes in that in your face in them right after, and sometimes unacceptable, or like in that moment you don't still understand why. Like in those 2 years that happened for all the coaches, all the swimmers, or anyone who's involved. Sometimes you get a base mark, and that makes a huge disappointment in rankings. But you don't clearly understand that that everybody had that experience. But I always, even though the camera's right there in the world championship, and then you thought, whatever result you imagined as the best situation, and then, they announce in your face, no, you have 4 base marks and you're whatever. I'm like, in that moment, I tried to think about, and just 1 second, because I think a little part of the coach, it's like a mirror. If I get super disappointed or like complain about the judging in front of the swimmers, of course I do a little bit, but like that contaminate all the team spirit, and then talks about this, what happened too much, and we cannot move on. So I think in a moment I had to learn more than before that, how I react to that. Of course, in back of my head, before I go to warm up for the next one, I can't understand and I want to go and ask, and sometimes we are allowed to go, so I will send my assistant coach or myself. I will go to just clarify what happened. But otherwise, our meet is in World Champs or Olympics, like one thing to another. There's no time for you to waste. They're getting disappointed, and then like you have to start to warm up for the next thing. I faced disappointment maybe last 2 years a little bit different way. And because I think not just myself, everybody had to learn this. And hopefully this amount of the feeling that, okay, we don't understand why this happened could be, smaller amount. I think that's where we're walking towards to as making the changes. And I think it will. And, all the technology that we want to make it involved, I think that'll clarify a lot of things and questions and more obvious, black and white. I think that's this sport is going to towards to. And I think it's very exciting. I think, last couple of years, I met so many people, surprisingly, like you, making this app, or, the Inside of Synchro, like everybody who's supporting this sport. A lot of people comes from having a lot of passion to it. It's not like it's your job, like I think that's supporting a lot to our community, and the people who's changing the role, or anybody who's involved, very much worked with the gas, which is a passion. And I think I like, well, it's sometimes maybe like football is bigger sport and an important sport, but maybe that not happen because it's they're worked with as a job. But I think one thing that it's beautiful thing about our sport is like meeting you or talking like, and I think I can feel it, and I got to meet so many people supporting this sport. I think you yourself and an artist too, like you're choreographing this, so I think a lot of people would enjoy what you do.